Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Michael and today I'm going to be taking you through a slow flow vinyasa practice. This is specifically focused on the side body, lovely way to open up the side of the neck, down into the ribs, the obliques and the outer hips. We're not going to be using any blocks or props for our practice. If you feel you need these to support you, then please have these standing by. We're going to begin seated, so let's come down onto our mat and find a nice comfortable seat. And let's rest our hands gently onto our knees. Relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears. Let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And release that breath with a big sigh. So with that sigh, just gently closing or softening the eyes. Just allowing the body to rest in the space. And just allowing everything to open and to settle. We take the time to tune into the physical body, just maybe asking ourselves how we're feeling, noticing any areas of tightness or tension, and just checking in with the mind to notice how the mind is feeling, just acknowledging our thoughts and our distractions. So as we allow the mind to rest gently with the breath and the body, we can begin to deepen our breathing, sending the inhale all the way down into the base of the lungs. On our exhale, really extending the breath as we release the air gently from the body. It's a nice deep, slow, steady breathing. Maybe engage in our ujjayi breath, that gentle constriction of the back of the throat, as if we're saying the word ha but with the lips slightly closed. As we do this, we can have a soft upward lift of the pelvic floor, gently drawing the navel in towards the spine. As we really tune into the body and the breath. So keeping that nice, deep, steady breathing going, we're going to gently open our eyes. We're going to interlace our fingers around the back of the body. We're going to breathe in as we roll the shoulders back, drawing the chest open. And then we're going to take both hands over to the right waist. We're going to press the right elbow forward. Inhale as we lift through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, we're going to turn our head to face the right. Gently drawing the left shoulder down away from the ear. And just breathing into the side of the neck. Nice, soft, steady breath. So we're already beginning to target that space down the side of the neck. The muscles that join into the top of the shoulder. And using the breathing to soften any areas of tightness. And on the next inhale, we're going to draw the shoulders back. Open up through the chest, taking the hands over to the left waist. Pressing the left elbow forward, breathe in as we lift through the crown of the head, and as we exhale, turn the head to face the left. Chin parallel to the floor, drawing the right shoulder back and down, and again breathing into that side of the neck. Just opening up that space with the breath, nice and gently. And then slowly release. We're going to interlace our fingers around the front of the body. Breathe in as we press the palms away and float the arms up to the sky. On our exhale, we're going to lean the upper body over to the right. Keep pressing into the palms of the hands, lifting out the left waist and pressing down through the left hip. From here, we're going to take another deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to lower the right hand down to the floor. Keep lengthening through the left side. And as we exhale, we're going to lean the upper body over to the right. Softening the right shoulder, relax the right elbow. Maybe take that right hand a little bit further away from the body. So just allowing ourselves to deepen into that left waist and opening up through the left ribs. Nice lateral flexion of the spine. Nice deep, steady breath. Inhale as we lift up. Interlace our fingers, press the palms away, float the arms up to the sky, and on our exhale we're going to lean the upper body over to the left. Keep pressing into the palms of the hands, drawing the right hip down away from the ribs. And slowly release the left hand down to the floor. Keep lengthening through the right side of the body, softening the upper body over to the left. So continuing to press the right hip down, breathe into the side body, nice deep breaths. And inhale as we lift up. Exhale as we release the arms, have a little roll out the shoulders, and let's come over onto all fours. Elbows and wrists balanced below the shoulders, knees balanced below the hips, and we're going to spread the fingers nice and wide. We're going to take a deep breath in through the nose, and as we exhale, we're going to round into the spine as we draw the belly in and gaze through the knees. Breathing in to draw the belly down, roll the shoulders back, take the gaze forward. And as we exhale, round into the spine. Few more cat-cow stretches. Breathing in to draw the belly down, roll the shoulders back, take the gaze forward. Exhaling as we round into the spine. Last time, breathing in to draw the belly down, shoulders back, lift the tailbone. Exhale, rounding into the spine. And coming back to a nice neutral spine, we're going to straighten the right leg away from the body, reaching away through the toes. We're going to float the left arm forward. Palm faces in, arm in line with the ear as we face the floor. The back of the neck remains nice and long. Lower belly gently drawing in, pressing down through the pads of the fingers on that right hand, lifting out of the right shoulder and breathing into the balance. From here we're going to take a nice deep breath in, and on our exhale we're just going to replace our left hand to the floor. We're going to take that right foot over to the left, plant the sole of the foot down, and we're going to breathe in as we float the right arm all the way up to the sky, and as we exhale we're going to lean the arm towards the front of the mat. Maybe a little internal rotation of that upper arm, little finger coming down towards the floor and engaging down through the sole of that right foot. Nice deep breathing into the side body, really lengthening the fingertips away from that hip. And let's inhale as we float that arm up. And as we exhale, we're going to float the right hand back to the floor. We're going to lengthen that right leg away from the body. And then we're going to take that right leg out to the side in line with the hip and plant the sole of the foot down. Inhale as we lift up, bringing the right hand to the side of the leg, sweeping the left arm up. Take a nice deep breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to lean the upper body over to the left. So a lovely Padikasana, a gate pose. Here we can take our gaze up to the fingertips, and again breathing into that side body, that length from the hip all the way up into the ribs, and lifting up into the fingertips. Soften the right shoulder, maybe slide the right hand a little bit further down that leg. And we're going to breathe in as we lift up. Exhale as we float the left hand down to the floor. Breathe in as we sweep the right arm up and over. And extending the right fingertips away from the right hip. Nice deep breathing. And inhale as we float the right hand up. Exhale as we bring both hands back to the floor, coming back into our tabletop position. Elbows and wrists balanced below the shoulders. Knees balanced below the hips. From here we're going to straighten our left leg away from the body, extend away through the toes. Float the right arm forward, reaching through the fingertips. Palm faces in, arm in line with the ear as we face the floor so the back and the neck remains nice and long. So again, we're lightly drawing the lower belly in here, keeping the body nice and steady, breathing into the balance. And from here, let's take a nice deep breath in. As we exhale, just replace the hand to the floor. Take the left foot over to the right, plant the sole of the foot down. Breathe in as we lift the left arm off the floor. And as we exhale, let's float that arm towards the front of the mat. Pressing down through the sole of that left foot, extending away through the fingertips, and breathing into the side body. Nice deep breaths. from here, breathe in as we float the left arm up. Exhale as we float the left hand down. We're going to straighten that left leg out behind us, and then we're going to take that left leg out to the side in line with the hip, and we're going to plant the sole of the foot down. Breathe in as we lift up. Left hand comes to the leg. Inhale as we sweep the right arm up. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the left. So again, we can take our gaze up to the fingertips here. Lower belly gently drawing in. Our Padikasana, our lovely gate pose. From here, let's inhale as we lift up. Exhale as we plant the right hand down to the floor, sweeping the left arm up and over. And again, engaging through the sole of that left foot. Find that lovely length, hip, ribs, all the way up to the fingertips. And breathe in as we lift that left arm up. Bringing both hands back down to the floor, sweeping the left knee back underneath the hip. And then from here, let's tuck the toes under, taking the hands forward, spread the fingers nice and wide, and let's lift the hips up and back, coming into our downward facing dog. So here we can take a little pedal through the heels, a little sway into the hips, tiny little softness in the elbows. And let's have the feet at least hip width apart here. From here, we're going to steady our feet, and we're going to breathe in as we lift up onto the tips of the toes. As we exhale, we're going to bend into our right knee as we press the left hip back. And we're going to look under our left shoulder. Nice deep breaths. Keep engaging through the pads of the fingers. Breathe in as we lift up to the tips of the toes. Exhale as we bend into the left knee, press the right heel back, and look underneath the right shoulder. Again, keep engaging through the pad of the fingers. Take a little bit of weight away from the wrists. Inhale as we lift up to the tips of the toes. Exhale as we press the heels down. We're going to breathe in as we look forward past our fingertips. Exhale as we soften into our knees. Inhale in as we step the feet all the way up to the hands. Lengthening through the spine before folding deeply in towards the legs. And let's step the feet together, interlace our fingers, press the palms down towards the floor. We're going to breathe in as we float the arms all the way up to the sky. And as we exhale, we're going to lean the upper body over to the right. I'm going to hold it here. So nice lateral flexion of the spine. Nice deep breaths all the way down into the base of the lungs. Inhale as we come back to the center. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the left. Soften through the toes, engage through the soles of the feet. Inhale as we lift up. Bring the palms to touch and draw the hands down in line with the chest. So coming into our lovely Tadasana, feet together, mountain pose. Release the arms down by the sides of the body. And let's roll the shoulders open with the palms facing forward, standing nice and tall. Take a deep breath in as we float the arms up. Look to our thumbs, bring the palms to touch. Exhale as we fold forward, bringing the hands down to the floor. Inhale as we lift halfway, lengthen the spine, look forward. And as we exhale, we're going to step the feet back. I'm going to lower the knees and the whole of the body down to the floor. Release the toes, elbows hugging in. 3 mini cobras. Inhale as we lift through the chest, shoulders down away from the ears. Exhale as we lower the body down. Keep the lower belly drawing in. Breathe in as we lift up. Exhale as we lower down. Elbows hugging in. Breathe in as we lift through the chest. Exhale as we lower down. Tuck the toes under. Press the tailbone back to the heels. And lift back up into our downward facing dog. Tiny softness in the elbows, spreading the fingers nice and wide. Nice deep breaths, lower belly drawing in. So tiny little softness in the elbows. We're lifting the hips up and back and pressing the upper body in towards the thighs. From here, let's inhale as we look forward. Exhale as we soften our knees. Breathe in as we step the feet all the way up to the hands. Lengthening through the spine before folding deeply in towards the legs. Pressure the feet. Let's breathe in as we float the arms up. Look to the thumbs. Bring the palms to touch. Exhale as we release the arms down. Standing tall. Inhale as we float the arms up. Look to the thumbs. Exhale as we fold. Bring the hands to the floor. Inhale as we lengthen the spine, lifting halfway. Exhale as we step the feet back. And again, lowering gently all the way down to the floor. So releasing the toes. This time we're going to float the hands, elbows in line with the shoulders, palms face down. Keep the head lifted. We're going to breathe in as we lift through the chest. Exhale as we lower down. One more time. Breathe in as we lift through the chest. Exhale as we lower down. We're going to do that one more time. Breathe in as we lift. Exhale as we gently lower. Hands in line with the chest. Tuck the elbows in. Tucking the toes. Press the hips back. And lift back up into our downward facing dog. Our Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So again, spreading the fingers nice and wide. Pressing the heels down towards the earth. Lifting the hips up and back and drawing the lower belly in. Nice deep breaths down into the base of the lungs. So relax the tension on the breath. From here, let's inhale as we look forward. Exhale as we soften our knees. Breathe in as we step the feet all the way up to the hands. Lengthening the spine before folding in. And let's press through the feet. Float the arms up. Then catch hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the right. Holding it here without holding the breath. So again, easing into that side body, down into the left wrist, ribs, all the way down into the left waist. Inhale as we lift back to the center, swap the hands over. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the left. Inhale as we lift back to the center. As we exhale, we're going to fold forward. Hands either come to the floor or the shins. Inhale as we lengthen the spine. And as we exhale, we're going to step the right foot back. And we're going to lower down onto that right knee. Keep the back toes tucked. Inhale as we lift the upper body and float the arms up to the sky, palms facing in. So we come to a nice low lunge. From here, we're going to take this into a nice deep side stretch. So we're going to bring our left hand down to catch hold of our left waist. We're going to inhale as we lift through the right side of the body, palm faces in. And as we exhale, we're going to lean the upper body over to the left. So maybe a little bit of unsteadiness between our contact to the earth. So we just want to breathe into that space, maybe slow the breath down. And then inhale as we lift back to the center. Release the left arm up to the sky. We're going to lift up into our high lunge. So bending into that left knee, floating over the ankle and pressing away through that back heel. Holding it steady. And then we're going to spin the back heel down, taking the arms wide, coming into our Virabhadrasana 2, our Warrior 2. So awareness down onto the fingertips of that left hand, shoulders down away from our ears. Holding it steady, maybe sink a little bit deeper into the hips. And relax the toes here. Notice that we're gripping hold of the floor. So we want that nice contact with the soles of the feet. From here, we're going to turn our palms to face up. And as we breathe in, we're going to slowly straighten that left leg as we float the arms up to the sky and bring the palms to touch. On the exhale, bend into that left knee, taking the arms wide, palms face down. Breathe in as we straighten the left leg, float the arms up, bring the palms to touch. Exhale, bend into that left knee, taking the arms wide. 3 more times. Inhale as we lift, lengthen to the sides. Exhale as we expand, bending into that left knee. 2 more times. Inhale as we float the arms up. Relax the toes. Exhale, bend into that left knee, taking the arms wide. Last time, breathe in as we float the arms up. Exhale to open. Let's release the back arm down to that back thigh. Breathe in as we float the left arm up to the sky. Exhale as we windmill our hands. Frame the front foot, lift the back heel, and lightly step the left foot back to meet the right. So an option here to hold it steady in our downward dog, or move through a gentle vinyasa, breathing forward. Exhaling as we lower down, maybe all the way. Inhaling as we draw the body forward and up. Exhale as we send the hips back into our downward facing dog. So holding it steady here, slowing the breath down. And let's inhale as we look forward. Exhale as we soften into our knees. Breathe in as we step the feet all the way up to the hands. Lengthening through the spine before folding deeply in towards the legs. And let's press to the feet. Breathe in as we float the arms up. Catching the left wrist with the right hand. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the right. So again, nice deep side body stretch. Lovely lateral flexion of the spine. And inhale as we come back to the center, swap the hands over. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the left. Inhale back to the center. Exhale as we fold forward. Hands rest down onto the floor. Breathe in as we lengthen the spine. Exhale as we step the left foot back. And we're going to lower down onto that left knee. Inhale as we float the arms up. Palms facing in. So we're back into a nice low lunge. So lower belly gently drawing in. Lifting through the spine. Lengthening through the sides. And let's release our right hand down to catch a hold of our right waist. Inhale as we lift through the left side of the body. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the right. Nice deep breaths. And let's breathe in as we lift back to the center. Float the right arm up to meet the left. And let's lift it up into our higher lunge. So pressing away through the back heel. Front knee hovering over the ankle, shoulders down away from our ears, but we're lifting through the side body all the way up into the fingertips. From here, let's spin the back heel down, take the arms wide, coming into our Vidya Bidradasana 2. So all the awareness down to the fingertips of that right hand. So we're going to take it into that dynamic movement. I'm going to turn the palms to face up, and as we breathe, we're going to straighten that right leg, float the arms up, bring the palms to touch. As we exhale, bend into that right knee, taking the arms wide. Breathe in as we lift, straighten the right leg, palms come to touch. Exhale, bending into that right knee, take the arms wide. 3 more times. Inhale as we float up. Exhale as we open. Breathe in as we lift, soften the toes, palms come to touch. Exhale as we bend into that right knee, take the arms wide. Last time. Inhale as we float the arms up. Exhale as we bend into that knee, take the arms wide. Release the back arm down. Inhale as we float the right arm up and over. And as we exhale, let's windmill the hands. Frame the front foot, lift the back heel, and lightly step it back. So back into our downward facing dog. And we have an option to hold it here, or we can move through a gentle vinyasa, breathing forward, exhaling to lower, inhaling to lift. Exhale as we send the hips up and back. downward facing dog. So again, taking the time here to slow and steady the breath. So using the time to realign the body, spread the fingers nice and wide, pressing down to the pads of the fingers. Let's inhale as we look forward. Exhale as we soften our knees. Inhale as we step the feet all the way up to the hands. Lengthening through the spine before folding deeply in towards the legs. And let's press to the feet. Float the arms up, look to the thumbs. Exhale as we release. So standing nice and tall at the front of the mat. Let's roll the shoulders open with the palms facing forward. And let's breathe in as we float the arms up, look to the thumbs, bring the palms to touch. As we exhale, fold forward, hands come down to the floor. Inhale as we lengthen through the spine. Exhale as we step the right foot back. I'm going to bring the back heel down, front knee remains bent. Inhale as we lift up into our Virabhadrasana 2, our warrior 2. Shoulders down away from the ears, relax through the toes. And from here we're going to inhale as we straighten through that left leg. We're going to release the back arm down to the back thigh and breathe in as we lift the left arm up to the sky. Palm faces in towards the body. So reversing our triangle. Dropping the right shoulder down away from the ear, lifting high through the fingertips. Nice deep breaths. Let's take a nice deep breath in here. And as we exhale, we're going to lean the upper body forward. Float the left hand down to the shin of the foot. Breathe in as we float the right arm up to the sky, into our triangle pose. And here we're going to lean the upper arm towards the front of the mat. So we come in line with that back leg. So we're opening up all the way down into that right hip. Hold it steady, softness in the toes. And from here we're going to take our time to gently transition, softening into that left knee. We're going to bring the left fingertips down to the floor inside that left foot. Keep reaching the right fingertips away from the right side of the body. So we're coming into our lovely extended side angle. Soften the toes, ground through the soles of the feet. Find that length from the ribs all the way down into that right hip. And slowly bringing the right hand down to the floor. I'm going to frame that front foot with the hands. I'm going to lightly step it back into our downward facing dog. An option to hold it steady, or an option to move through a vinyasa. Breathing in to float forward. Exhaling as we lower. Inhaling as we lift. Exhale, sending the hips back. Downward facing dog. So again, slow the breath down. Finding that moment to realign the body. Before breathing in to look forward. Exhale as we soften our knees. Inhale as we step the feet all the way up to the hands. Lengthen through the spine before folding deeply in towards the legs. And let's press to the feet. Inhale as we float the arms up. Look to our thumbs. Exhale as we release the arms down. So moving into the left side. Standing nice and tall, let's roll the shoulders open, palms face forward. Deep breath in as we float the arms up. Look to our thumbs. Exhale as we fold, bring the hands lightly down to the floor. Inhale as we lengthen the spine to look forward. Exhale as we step the left foot back. Bringing the back heel down, press to the feet. Inhale as we lift the upper body, taking the arms wide. So back into our Virabhadrasana 2. Our warrior 2. Shoulders down away from the ears. Reaching away to the fingers. Softness in the toes. And we're going to straighten through that right leg. We're going to release the back arm down. Inhale as we float the right arm up. Palm faces in. So again, we're lifting through the fingertips here, reversing our triangle. And a nice steady foundation through the soles of the feet. Softness in the toes. And from here, we're going to take a deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to float forward, bringing that right hand down to the shin as we take the left arm up to the sky, coming into our triangle. So we're drawing that left shoulder open, maybe taking our gaze up to the fingertips. And from here, we're going to float that up arm forward towards the front of the mat. So we're extending our triangle. Nice steady breath. So again, gentle transition here. Softening into that right knee. Bringing the right fingertips down to rest on the floor on the inside of that foot. Keep drawing the left arm forward. Pressing down through the outside edge of that back foot. So we find that lovely length all the way up the side of the body. Easing into the left ribs. Down into the left hip. And just breathing gently into any areas of tightness in that space. And inhale as we float the arms back down to the floor. Frame the front foot, lift the back heel, and step it back into our downward facing dog. So again, option here to hold it steady, or we can move through a vinyasa. We have the option to float or lower all the way down, simply lifting the chest, or coming forward and up, our upward facing dog, and back into our downward facing dog. Steadiness in the breath. So from here we're going to breathe in as we float forward into our plank. I'm going to lower the right knee down to the floor, release the top of the foot. Bring the back heel down and inhale as we float the left arm up to the sky. So coming to a nice supported side plank. So here again we're going to take this into the side body. If there's any unsteadiness between the body and the floor, always come down to our connection to the earth. Maybe steadying through the fingertips on that right hand. And then I'm going to float the left arm forward. Nice deep breaths. Slowly bringing the left hand down to the floor. Lift it back up into our downward facing dog. A little pedal to the heels, a little sway into the hips. Taking the time to realign the body. And then breathing in to float forward to our plank. Lower the left knee down. Bring the back heel down to the floor. Press with the left fingertips. Breathe in as we float the right arm up to the sky. So again, any unsteadiness between the body and the floor, always come down to our connection to the earth. From here we're going to float the upper arm forward, lengthening through the side body, extending to the fingertips. And inhale as we float the right arm up. Exhale as we bring the right hand down. Lifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Options to stay here, or float through a vinyasa, breathing in to float forward. Exhale as we lower. Inhale as we lift through the chest. Exhale as we send the hips back, downward facing dog. And slow the breath down. From here, let's inhale as we look forward. Exhale to soften our knees. Breathe in as we step the feet all the way up to the hands. Really lengthening through the spine before folding deeply in towards the legs. From here, we're going to pressure the feet. Inhale as we float the arms up. Bringing the palms to touch. And slowly bring the hands down in line with the chest. And let's relax the arms down. So let's come into our balancing posture. So we're going to take a nice side stretch into our tree. So let's begin on our left foot. So always start with a nice steady foundation, that softness between the body and the floor, that steadiness. So steadiness and strength in our posture. So from here we're going to bring the sole of that right foot either to the inside of the shin or the inside of the thigh. So we're coming to the inside of the thigh, we may want to reach down and grab hold of that ankle with the right hand. If that foot's down into the inside of the shin, we can simply take this hand to the right hip. Wherever we are, we're going to breathe in as we float the left arm up, palm faces in, and as we exhale, we're going to lean the upper body over to the right. So again, the more we reach away to the fingertips, the deeper we take that stretch into the side body, down into the hip. Nice deep breaths. Two more deep breaths. And inhale as we lift up. Exhale as we release the hands. We're going to float the right knee forward and lower the right foot down. So we're bringing that element of control to our practice. So same on the other side. Let's steady the right foot. Breathe in as we float the left knee. Opening the hips, sole of the foot either to the inside of the shin or the inside of the thigh. So we always want to avoid putting pressure on the inside of the knee. So let's reach down and catch hold of the ankle if that was the same on the other side. Otherwise catching the left hip with the left hand. Let's breathe in as we float the right arm up, palm faces in. Lengthen through the right side of the body before leaning the upper body over to the left. So lower belly gently drawing in, that little lift to the pelvic floor, keeping the core nice and steady. Relaxing the muscles of the face. Two more deep breaths. And let's inhale as we lift up. Exhale as we gently release. Float the left knee up, bring it forward, and lower the sole of the foot down. Shake out the legs, and let's come back onto the front down mat. So bringing the feet together, let's roll the shoulders open, palms face forward. Take a deep breath in as we float the arms up. Look high to the thumbs as we exhale, fold forward, bringing the hands down to the floor. Inhale as we lengthen through the spine. Exhale as we step it back. Lowering the body down, either all the way down or float. Inhale as we lift through the chest, either our cobra or our upward facing dog. Exhale as we send the hips up and back. Our last downward facing dog. Spread the fingers nice and wide, press the heels down to the earth, draw the lower belly in, lengthen through the back of the body, and breathe into the back ribs. From here we're going to breathe in as we lift to the tips of the toes. Exhale as we lower the knees down. I'm going to keep the toes tucked. I'm going to sit back onto our heels. So this is quite a deep stretch for the soles of the feet. For the toe joints, I want to reach down and draw the little toes forward. Sometimes they get a little lost behind or a little left behind. So this feels too intense for the soles of the feet or the toes. Please feel free to come down to the tops of the feet. We're not going to be here too long. So we're just going to bring that nice side stretch up into the upper body. So we're going to breathe in as we float the right arm up. And we're going to bend at the right elbow. Bring the palm of the hand down to the insides of the shoulder blades. We're going to reach the left arm up. Catch hold of that right elbow. Draw the lower belly in. Inhale as we lift through the right side. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the left. So relax the face muscles here. Soften through the eyes. Nice deep breaths. Wonderful. Nice deep breath in. Exhale to gently release. Lean it forward. Float the toes, wiggle the toes. And then tucking the toes under, coming back. Same on the other side, sitting back onto our heels. Remember, this feels too intense. Feel free to release the tops of the feet down. We're going to breathe in as we lift the left arm up. Bend the left elbow. Hands come to the inner space of the shoulder blades. Let's reach up with our right hand, catch hold of the left elbow. Breathe in as we lift through the left side of the body. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the right. Nice deep breaths. Keep the lower belly drawing in, that little lift to the pelvic floor. Relax the muscles of the face, soften the jaw. And let's breathe in as we lift back to the center. Exhale as we release forward, hands to the floor, float the feet, wiggle the toes. And let's take the knees nice and wide, bring the big toes to touch. And let's press the hips back to the heels. I'm going to reach the arms forward, keeping the elbows lifted, really extending the fingertips away from the body. So creep the fingertips forward. So as we gently press the hips back, we find that lovely stretch all the way up into the side ribs. So option here to soften the forehead down to the floor. We can keep the head and the elbows lifted. And just taking a moment to breathe into the back of the body. And slowly lifting up nice and gently. Let's come sit down onto our seat. So nice deep forward fold coming into our Paschimottanasana, toes pointing towards the sky. We can have a tiny little softness in our knees, but the more we engage in the upper thighs, the fronts, tops of the thighs should I say, the more we relax the backs of the legs, our hamstrings, to gives us a little bit more space. Let's inhale as we float the arms up. Exhale as we fold forward, catch a hold of our feet. Breathe in as we lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale as we soften the body forward and down. So here we can take our gaze forward to our toes, maintaining the length on the lower back. Lower belly gently scooping in, nice deep breaths. And then inhale as we lift up nice and gently. So we're going to come into what they call a half shoelace. So we're going to float our right leg, we're going to bend that right knee, and we're going to draw that right leg over the left. So the knee comes on top or towards the left knee. Outside edge of that foot is down onto the floor. So this can be quite an intense stretch for the hips and quite an intense stretch for the outer edge of that left leg. So all the way down into the outer calf. We're going to bring the fingertips down to the floor, relax the shoulders. We're going to inhale as we lift through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, we're going to gently soften the body forward, walking the hands forward, relaxing the shoulders. And once we've found that space where the body says that's enough, we can relax the head down towards the knee. And you may feel as we do this, we'll just find that engagement in that posterior chain of muscles running from the back of the neck all the way down the left side of the body, down into the left side of the leg. Nice deep breaths. So we're beginning to slow everything down now, nice and gently. Easily as we breathe in, just lift the upper body. We're going to take our right hand behind our seat. We're going to catch that right knee with the left hand. We're going to inhale as we lift through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, we're going to lightly rotate round, looking over that right shoulder. So just coming into a nice, easy seated twist. And then slowly coming back to the centre. So we're going to switch sides. So we're going to straighten our right leg. We're going to bend the left knee. Draw the left leg over so the knee comes on top or towards the other knee. So the outer edge of that left foot is down onto the floor. We're pressing into the right heel, toes pointing towards the sky, and bringing our fingertips either side of the body. Shoulders down away from our ears. Inhale as we lift through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, we're just going to walk the hands forward. So again, we find that space where the body says that's enough. So the outer line of that right leg might be quite intense here. So we don't want to push too far. We just want to breathe into that nice element of challenge. And once we find that space where the body says that's enough, we can soften the head gently towards the knee. So again, you may find as you do this, we really engage that posterior chain of muscles. Notice that engagement all the way down the right side of the back of the body. Breathe in as we slowly lift up, nice and gently. Catching a hold of that left knee with the right hand, take our left hand behind our seat. Inhale as we lift and lengthen. Exhale, nice easy seated twist, looking over the left shoulder. And then slowly coming back to the centre, unravel that left leg. And let's come to lie down on our mats. So we can draw the knees in towards the body, have a little rock from side to side. Maybe creating some circles of the lower back. It's a lovely way to massage the lower spine down to the back of the hips. And then we're going to set ourselves up for our bridge. We're going to extend our bridge. So let's bring the soles of the feet down to the floor, having the feet hip width apart. And we're going to start with our arms down the sides of the body, palms facing down, fingertips leading towards our heels. We're going to take a deep breath in through the nose. And as we exhale, we're going to float the hips up towards the sky, pressing down to the soles of the feet. Remember, notice here if the inner arches of the feet start to fold away from the floor, so if the knees start to soften away from the center line, and just bring everything towards the center. So engaging through the inner lines of the feet, engaging through the inner thighs, and maybe lifting the hips up a little bit higher. From here on our next inhale, we're going to float the arms up and over. Bring the tops of the hands down to the floor and reaching the fingertips away from the body. So a little bit of pressure between the tops of the shoulders and the floor. Lifting the hips nice and high. And again, really lengthening through the side body here. Nice deep breaths. So sending that breath into the side of the ribs. I'm going to breathe in as we float the arms up and over, keeping the hips lifted, lowering the arms down. And then we're going to take our hips over to the right side of the mat. I'm going to lower the hips down to the floor. As we straighten our legs, we're going to take both heels over to the left corner of the mat. I'm going to cross our right ankle over the left. Reaching the arms up above the head, catching a hold of our right wrist with the left hand. Inhale as we lengthen through the right side of the body. Exhale as we draw the upper body over to the left. It's a lovely deep stretch here, down into the right ribs, down into that right hip, all the way down into the right IT band. Nice deep breaths, all the way down the right side of the body. here we can notice any tension gathering in the face. Just relaxing the eyes and the jaw. And take another nice deep breath in. Exhale as we release the wrist. Bring the arms up and over. Uncross the feet. Bring the soles of the feet back to the floor with bent knees. And then we're going to lift the hips off the floor. We're going to take our hips over to the left side of the mat, lowering them down. Taking both heels, straight legs over to the right. Crossing the left ankle over the right. Reaching the arms up above the head. Catching a hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Inhale as we lengthen through the left side of the body. Exhale as we lean the upper body over to the right. So again, nice deep stretch down into the left side of the body, all the way down into the outer ankle. Breathing into that space. Relaxing the face, nice deep breaths. And then slowly releasing the wrist. Bring the arms back over. Bending the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Lifting the hips, bringing the hips back to the center before lowering them gently down. Let's draw the knees in towards the body one last time. Have a little rock from side to side. Before straightening the legs along the floor. And coming into a nice Shavasana. And so allowing the arms to soften either side of the body, palms facing up, feet softening out to the sides. We can take a nice deep breath in through the nose and release that breath with a big sigh. With that sigh, releasing all control of the breath. Just allowing the body to gently breathe itself. So we soften back into the body's own natural rhythm. Gently closing or softening the eyes, relaxing the muscles of the face. Take the awareness down into the toes and the soles of the feet. Just allowing all the muscles of the legs to gently ease away from the bone. Releasing any holding on of the navel, allowing the belly to become soft and spacious. Relaxing each of the arms down into the fingertips. Maybe noticing how the body feels after our practice. Maybe noticing that element of spaciousness. As we allow the body to come into rest. you wishing to continue your Shavasana, please feel free to do so. Taking as long as you wish, as long as the body needs. For those of you wishing to come out, let's just gently begin to move through the fingers and the toes. Just beginning to deepen our breathing. And let's reach the arms over the body. Take a nice deep breath in as we have a lovely big stretch. And let's hug the knees in towards the body. Having a nice rock from side to side. And then gently easing the body onto our side before lifting up into a nice, comfortable seat. So sealing our practice with our breath, let's take our hands into prayer position in front of the chest, softness between the palms of the hands and the fingertips. Relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears. Let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose and release that breath with a big sigh. Thank you very much for joining me for this practice today. I hope you enjoyed the practice. If you did, please hit the like or the subscribe button. If you would like to donate, please click on the Buy Me a Coffee, and please join me again for another practice. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day, your evening, whatever you're up to.